Hi there. Good afternoon. I'm going to turn this down. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. I have had a week of redirecting yet again because that seems to be how I stay ahead of the curve. I rebooted Anti-Maskers Canada, and I had done that for about 2 weeks, and it was gaining some serious ground and super fast, just like No Mask Sask did when I had that group going. And before you know it, as I rebooted it, it was at 400 members, and we were at 2,000 within a week and a half later. So kicking some serious ass, a lot of people coming on board. But Anti-Maskers has turned out to be, well, again, another learning experience, just like No Mask Sask was. And as I tried to introduce to me, which I believe is the very best marketing program going for our concerns, putting us in the same realm as the mask and the maskers, becoming one of them. And again, that's with my alternative. Well, they didn't like it very much. And I don't know that there were a lot of people who got it. But what I found was a lot of people that didn't get it. And what I saw happening right before my very eyes was the traits of the most venomous pro-masker coming out in the anti-masker. And I was pretty horrified, I have to tell you. The exact same people on either side that insult each other continually, calling each other names before you get going. In any case, they started calling me names and stuff, and that's when I had to pull the plug. But it was a little more diabolical than that. It was a build-up, for sure. But then it was an actual attack. And this is how they try to take you out. And I realized that a lot of those people that were coming at me in the group weren't really, they were there for interference, is what it was all about. And it was on the Sunday night when I yet again had this woman insulting and putting my website for Not a Mask in a passage that I had, but it was already there several times. And I had already explained what the program was. She did it in a couple of other places, but then I went to drop some articles because I approved them all. And there was a nasty one about me. And I went back to one of her posts and I started writing out the comment. And you know what? I'd probably written it out too many times, but what I didn't get was that it was a lure. It was an absolute lure. And I got sucked in. I did. I totally got sucked in. I responded and I told her that she had the brain the size of a pea. And it didn't take seconds where my admin got a hit. And it was not good. And I knew we were under attack. I went and I archived the group just like that. And there it sits. Because just like the protest line, the Facebook groups get absolutely targeted. And it's all about interference. It's all about undermining the effort. It's about people making comments that they know will be reported and actually having someone report right then. So then again, it's a hit on the group. In any case, it becomes romper room. And you know, I didn't have kids, so I don't do romper room. Forget it. No. Clown show. Again, avoid. And this is exact interference we are dealing with in every genre here when it comes to standing up against this tyranny upon us. Truly. The protest, interference, the groups. Because our keepers have every base covered. And anytime you start to get some legs, they're coming in to chop them down. And again, I have learned this firsthand from being the one doing it all. I'm not sharing any of those duties, and I see it. In any case, again, some of those people didn't realize too that, well, the funding from not a mask, like the cash flow, because seriously, this is what I do, right? Like fighting for no masks and now fighting to breathe and to make sure people can have an option, because the mask and the muzzle is unacceptable. There are many people that legitimately cannot wear a mask, and that comes down to asthmatics, and there's a lot of those, COPD, deviated septum, and just being human, because the mask does create an immense amount of humidity, and it is absolutely detrimental to our health. Now, this gets me into mom. I've been dealing with a mom for a couple of weeks here in Regina. And she came to me in desperation because her daughter has a skin condition, and it's called contagion molluscum. Now, if you Google it quickly, you will see that this condition is not pretty at all. And generally, it can go away on its own. Sometimes it needs treatment, but mostly it has to be free. It can lead to scarring, and it can also be painful. And immediately when I heard of her daughter's condition, she came to me for a not a mask to give her daughter an alternative that she could not have friction and humidity hitting her face. Now, of course, I looked up the condition. And again, the first thing they say is excessive humidity is a problem. And you don't get that with not a mask. Straight up, you don't. Now, she took her daughter took it to school. And of course, I've been going back and forth with this woman for 2 weeks now. Her daughter wears it, and within a couple of hours, she spilt water on it. So she took it off. And so she only had it on for 2 to 3 hours. She put on another mask that she had with her. And again, this little girl, she's 8 years old, right? Sweetheart, absolute sweetheart. She went home, and the school in the meantime got a hold of mom and said, no, you can't, she can't wear that. And mom's like, no. So anyway, the letter writing starts back and forth. And again, the reason her mom sought out a reasonable solution was, again, to avoid the situation escalating. And again, it is not like, it's not a chronic condition. It is actually, they say, and I've never heard of it, that it's becoming quite common with kids. And it's actually contagious as well. So again, a reason for, okay, the face covering. Mom gets all that. Now, this mom, she's got a couple of 20-year-old kids in their 20s. So she's been through the school system. She's no stranger to any of it. She's never had a problem until the mask. At the beginning of school, her daughter and another one were the only two not wearing the mask at school. And mom was making sure of that. But then the mandate came down. And so mom has to work. So she complied. The other woman, she took her daughter out of school. In any case, as it turns out, oh boy, I hate when this happens because I have to read a letter and it wants to go out on me. In any case, the letter writing went back and forth. And here we go. The letter writing went back and forth. And what happened, isn't that interesting? I've got all sorts of little glitches going on with my computer. I'm going to pull it up again. And this is the letter that she got back from the Catholic School Board here in Regina. What the heck is going on? All of a sudden, I've got a problem with my computer. Isn't that funny? Okay, here we are. Oh, here we are. The heck? Very weird. Oh, here we are. All right. Gosh, sorry guys. That shouldn't have happened. In any case, again, letter writing back and forth. Mom trying to deal with this. Not a mask being an absolute solution to it all. But unfortunately, this is the schools, or let's get down to who sent it. I'm not going to give you the name, but I'm going to say it's the Superintendent of Student Services, and that is with the Regina Catholic School Board. Okay. Thank you for your recent email expressing your concerns about the board's policy of requiring students to wear masks at school. You have identified that your child has a medical condition which is restricting her from wearing a non-medical mask. You proposed that she wear an alternative face covering manufactured and available via website by the company Not a Mask. The Not a Mask appears to be a neck gaiter, which is not recommended by Health Canada. Now, she's already expressed in the letter before, I just want to let you know that it is not a gaiter, and I'm going to take you through that later. The division is aware that XX has been wearing her Not a Mask at school, but it regularly slides down on her face. So it is not staying on her face consistently at school. The division carefully considers the advice of the province's public health officers in addition to its obligations under the Education Act and its obligations as an employer under the Saskatchewan Employment Act to keep the school safe, to keep the school safe as a safe workplace for students and staff. The school division is also concerned that the Not a Mask covers Brooklyn's infected areas, as shown to us in the photos that you've sent, which may result in further medical issues for her. As a school division, we have a duty to accommodate students with a disability, which would include chronic conditions. The school division has a legal obligation to develop an accommodation plan based on restrictions outlined in a doctor's report. I have attached for your reference the duty to accommodate process to provide you with the context and why it is an important process for the school division and family. It is necessary for Brooklyn's medical practitioner to give medical restrictions to develop her accommodation plan. COVID has not changed the fundamental principles of accommodation of students with medical restrictions, and the division continues to follow the process when parents, guardians are requesting an accommodation to our current mask mandate. You have shared that your daughter's pediatrician is unable to provide a mask exemption, but what we require from her physician are the restrictions only. Please find enclosed a medical form for you to take to your daughter's physician, who can report on her medical restrictions. Brooklyn's pediatrician may wish to consult with the SHA's public health officer, Dr. Hendrick, regarding her condition and medical restrictions. While waiting for the physician's medical restrictions and effective immediately, she may receive educational services from RCSD by attending school in person while wearing a mask that is compliant with Saskatchewan's public health order and with Health Canada's recommendations found at XXX, or remote learning. Please let us know which of the two options you prefer, and we can set them up. Now it goes on into, once we receive her medical restrictions from her physician, we will work collaboratively together so that the division can create her accommodation plan reflecting her restrictions. While you may disagree with the division's decision, the Education Act requires each student comply with the board's direction. And if the student wishes to attend school in person, unless the student has received medical restrictions from a medical practitioner and needs to be accommodated for a disability as defined by Saskatchewan Human Rights Code 2018. Please find enclosed a letter for you to take to your medical practitioner to discuss medical restrictions and return to student services. We hope this letter explains why we have taken the steps to protect students and staff from COVID-19. We look forward to working with you collaboratively. Does that sound collaborative? Now, my first thing, besides being insulted with not a mask, is, well, they are trying to pen her in the disability category. Okay, they're trying to contain, so they have basically said our way or highway. And here's the thing. Number one, her information is incorrect, though. This girl never wore the not a mask for any length of time. She didn't. Now, the little girl does admit she was getting used to it. And so she was trying to get it adjusted to the right place and blah, blah, blah. And she told Mom that she was fiddling with it. She was. So they're not incorrect there. But Mom shot back and she said, look at, like, hello, it was a new thing. And she's basically come back and combated every one of these points. Again, the fact is this is easily overcome. Absolutely. And last year, it would have never been a problem. It never would have been. Because, again, this woman has been dealing with the school system for years and years. She truly has. And, again, never had a problem in getting along. We have offered an absolutely efficacious alternative. And I keep wondering why they keep putting us in the gator category, because it's not a gator. The thing is, nobody from this school once has inspected this. Nobody has. This is 100% political is what is going on. They're trying to stick to their guns for sure, but there are definite hits at not a mask. And I take those very seriously because it affects my brand. Now I'm going to explain to everybody about not a mask. Number one, a gaiter is an equidistant fabric all around, okay? Now, funny enough, the SHA yesterday, they tweaked their guidance and they added tailored. And I was one step ahead of them. You see, when I created this, I knew what I was going to be up against. And I knew it was going to be nonsense. And I never once looked at a gaiter as a guide. This is an absolute original design that originated in my mind and went back and forth with my mother. She's a designer. So here we are, not a mask. Again, it's tailored. It's not straight across. But as you can see, it is tailored so that it actually fits perfect. And there are no gaps. So when the not a mask is on, it's actually hitting right up here under the neck. Okay, so it's laying on your skin. And again, it could be put under your shirt if it needed to be. No gaps. An elastic, adjustable. Once it's in place, it doesn't go anywhere. When we started, we were using a thicker elastic. And for me, I could feel it being too tight here, and we went to the thinnest one we could find. And this is the one typically used in masks, actually. And again, the stopper. Once it's in place and you're comfortable with it, even through the wash, it stays put. That's the whole idea. The whole idea was if they want this to be part of our damn uniform, we're going to have a way that's not only, number one, cleanly, okay? Because this is on you. It's not in your dirty bag. And again, there's room to breathe. But chiffon is the most efficacious fabric there is in this application. there are 2 layers. And they are the top of the line infiltration. And on the website, www.notamask.ca, you will find studies that absolutely address, scientific studies about the efficacy of chiffon. Now, what I don't like about all this is the fact that there's no accommodation. For number one, they haven't specified a shape. They have not. I created an original one, created for people that know that a mask is not healthy. Now, if some people want to go ahead and wear the unhealthy mask or continue believing these authorities that are telling you that you can't, no, sorry guys, If you're going to make us partake in this inhumane treatment, then we'll choose how we do it. And that I insist upon. The fact is, Regina School Board, that is the most despicable thing I've ever seen. I cannot believe you would actually send that to a parent. It's beyond me how low you would actually go in literally cornering this woman. Now, she can't stop work. So she sent a letter back and she's going to be coming back to school. And if the school board feels that it's better that the mask, which creates friction on her face, is best, well, I guess she has no choice. Because instead of being collaborative with this person, like this letter suggests, what they've done is literally backed her into a corner. And that, my friends, is as low as you go. Now, I want to let you know this. See, the Regina School Board, you've had a not a mask in your schools since November. Yes, you have. Go find it. Because I've had it there since the first week. We had not a mask. A mom paved the way, and I've talked about this mom in my videos before. She paved the way in. So, sorry, you're wrong. Now, I'm not naming any names of the school here because I want to give them a little wiggle room to do the right thing. And I'm hoping they will. Because if they do care about, again, the welfare of their students, they would, again, be collaborative. They wouldn't be gaslighting. And that's what that letter is. It's despicable. This is why I didn't have kids. Because I would have gone wild. In any case, again, backing a parent in a corner is not collaborative. It's coercion. And addressing the fact that you haven't even looked at my design, but you have assumed, and actually, as far as I'm concerned, damaged my brand. We have a beef now. We do. Parents, we know, and we can see from this letter, that they do not deserve your trust. And I continue to hear from people all the time, and they want to know what they can do. Well, guys, you have the power. Your kids are in their school. And quite honestly, Greta's not the only one who could put on a school strike. So can you. There are different ways to go about this. And again, we need to get off that protest line and stop. Again, it's nice to show up and shoot the shit and talk about all of your issues. But at the end of the day, we need action here. Or you do. Because right now, again, they're not working in the best interest of your children. They're not. I just read to you. Absolute evidence of that. The best interests of the school board here seems to be politics, strong-arming, bullying, because that's a bullying letter. I know I'm seeing a lawyer this week. I am. Because, see, this is where we start to get some legs. Not once did that mom ever say she would not mask her child. Now, at the beginning, she didn't want to, but to get her, to allow her daughter to go to school, she agreed to the mask. And now this. Parents have the control here. Again, I believe that parents need to start getting together on the fact that if they have to bring their kids home to be educated, then they need to be compensated. And because here in Saskatchewan or anywhere in Canada, and a lot of the world, it's the kids are due an education. We pay for it in our taxes. I've even been paying for your kids in my taxes all these years. I have been, and I didn't even have them. So I have a beef there too. The fact is, your taxes are supporting them. So if they cannot provide the service that you're entitled to, then it's time to go after that money. And again, I think this is where parents need to start getting together. And I am talking to this one and another one who is working on a few things in that realm as well. So don't think that this isn't happening. What I've learned in my whole journey with No Mask Sask and anti-maskers and being on the front lines is no one parent wants to take it on their own. I've talked to so many, and every time I get them to the point of action, that's when they stop. Okay, and they anticipated this. But collectively, you could be pursuing action while your kids are in school. And that's a matter of getting together and starting to talk about it. Because now it's not about the maskers against the anti-maskers. What it is right now is everybody's in it together in that school. And the penchant for them to try to maneuver this little girl into the disability realm, the chronic disease realm, that's very scary. It really is, because that's not what was going on at all. It's a condition, again, that goes away on its own. But if it's not consumed with humidity, it's going to go away a whole lot faster. And then her daughter will be back to the mask. I don't know why having an alternative has to be a problem, unless we're teaching communism. And that's pretty much what I'm figuring here. And I know egalitarianism with the mask, all one with the mask, no individuality. This is why they will not have exceptions. Now again, there are no one. Are there mask police at these schools? Because the fact is, most of the masks going into these schools, and I know it, they're buying the cheap ones. 1-ply, they may be 2-ply, but they're the cheapest that there is. Every one of them has gaps. And I've actually got some parents filming for me of footage they've got from schools of the mask gapped. The kids down below their nose. Again, they're not wearing it correctly. Now, what's funny, yesterday I went to the mall, and I don't go out very often, but I walk in, and I went and decided to take the stairs up in the parkade, and then came down through the escalator, and I get down, and as I'm going down, I'm looking, people coming up, and out of 20 people that passed me, 8 of them had their mask on incorrectly. 6 of them had it below their nose, and 2 of them had it above their mouth. Out of 20. As I'm downtown and through the mall walking, it was the same thing. Again, people can't breathe in it. It's unnatural. We should not be participating in this practice. I mean, if you want to wear one, go for it. But quite honestly, it's ridiculous. And I know lots of people want to think, oh my God, she's capitalizing. No, I'm not. Not yet. Like, does anybody know about small business? Does anybody get that you don't make profits for a long time? And quite honestly, it's not going that fast. I'm just a hell of a good promoter. The fact is, it's working out for people. They're able to tolerate it. Why would you not allow us to do it the way we want to? In any case, it doesn't matter because this does comply. It does with Health Canada standards. And again, I did it better. I did. And it was all in the choice of fabric. And also, the fact that something dirty in a bag is absolutely, it's ludicrous. If it's around your neck, it's clean. It's ready to go. You pull it up, you pull it down. And when it's adjusted properly, it absolutely works. Oh, I get so angry about this stuff, but I've learned that I just have to chill out and go with the flow. And again, all of this for me, market research, because I worked with Mom on that slam dunk letter that should have never resulted in this. I've been in sales and marketing, and I'm no $2.50. I've been on the board of Saskatchewan Trade and Export Partnership. I have run corporations. Thank you. I'm no slouch. And I don't deliver letters for them to get rejected. And when it does, and again, Mom worked with me on that, and it was brilliant. She did an amazing job. And her rebuttal, I didn't even help her with the one that has gone back as a result of this letter, but it was killer. She didn't need my help. Guys, it's not getting better, but here's what I have to say about all of it right now is the fact that all these parents, okay, they were happy to put on the mask and get their kids to put on the mask. They were, because it was about a virus, and they wanted everybody to be healthy. They've been completely berated with propaganda nonstop since this began. So they all thought it was for a while. Now, on notamask.ca, I expose the real reason for this mask nonsense, because it's important that they understand the mask is forever. If parents were told when this came down that the mask was going to be forever, they would have never agreed. And you can't tell me they would have. They wouldn't. That's right, Crystal. Yes, keep sharing. I am. The more people I talk to, again, we've been manipulated, maneuvered. And if that doesn't insult you enough, they're maneuvering your children now. It's diabolical. I would be losing it if I had kids. I truly would be. I would not engage in the system. I wouldn't. Not under those circumstances. The thing is, the vax is coming down, and of course that's masquerading. It's a gene therapy. It's not a vax. And again, this dishonesty happening. Again, this is when we have to know this isn't our country. They're not in control, okay? I've been saying this over and over forever. I've tried to put it out in groups. Again, a year of it, that our government's not in control. This is literally a CCP government. This is Chinese policy in our society. We would have never, as Canadians, been under threat to a vaccine. But the fact is, Canada has signed into this agreement, and it includes 99% vaccination, and that is Agenda 2030. I've tried to get the point across on social media. I've tried to, again, the groups. I've tried to get local happening, but the fact is, the interference is just too much. I realized, again, with the group, that it wasn't worth exposing myself like that. And I've decided to, not step back, but I'm going to work on a project that I should have started long ago. And that was the book of how China stole the world. That's what I'm going to be putting together. The thing is, I've got all the content. I've been writing like a madwoman for a year. So it's all there. I just have to fetch it and arrange it. And that's what I'm going to do. There's too much information. It is overwhelming for people. And this is what's going on, guys. The fact is, we're never going to narrow down as to action when we are simply bombarded by too much. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. Because, see, for a year, I've been telling everybody about the fact that TAM is in control, the World Health Organization is in control. And then all of a sudden, everybody started to get these in the mail. Right? In Canada. So, you get a little postage paid postcard to send to anyone you want. And all of a sudden, people started sharing it on Facebook, what they were sending. And a lot of them were going to Trudeau. And I'm going, what? Okay, I've been telling you for a year that TAM is in control. Trudeau is in the house. He's in the house. TAM is in control. The postcards to TAM. Ask her to have Tedros release us. I was going to send mine to the CCP leader in China, Xi Jinping. Except they didn't give me enough postage. Ask him to release us. But no, the fact is I'm watching all of these specials. I'm doing a lot of research now, and again, about Australia, and it's exactly the same thing, guys. I mean, they're not in control, and we're not our government's not in control. We can clearly see this. Nothing but interference, distractions, everything keeping our eye off the ball and maneuvering us into this new sustainability that isn't sustainable. I'm sustainability. I get what that is. And their plan is not. What's happening is China is getting a free ride and they're taking over the world with it. And that's what's happening, including our country. Do you think that Greta showed up in the Tesla and all of a sudden the oil industry, oh, okay, Greta, we're going to leave? Come on. Never seen Greta in the Tesla landing in China, have you? No. Not in India either. No. China is the single biggest beneficiary of Agenda 2030 in the world. And it will literally have them taking us into the future because, again, economically, they're usurping us. They absolutely are. And again, they've infiltrated your schools now. Because again, when did parents ever get gaslighted? No, that's unacceptable. This letter, it demonstrates contempt for the parent and the child. I don't care what side of the issue you're on. Anyone looking at that letter can see it's wrong. And I sure hope that the Catholic School Board sees that that was a very big mistake. I hope that the SHA starts to be reasonable and also be proud of a Saskatchewan innovation. I didn't rip this from anyone. This is an original creation. And that's what I do. And I have a reputation for it because the government supported me before. They've given me $100,000 in 2 grants. I'm known as an innovator. And when you do not take a good look at this and at least give it consideration, well, that just shows. Our country no longer exists. In any case, I wore it all over yesterday. I continue to do so. I do have a friend, however, she went into Orange Theory Fitness. Now, she has been going for, it's her 7th class. She walked into her 7th class. She was told at home, because her daughter works there, that she was not to wear the non-mask anymore. The thing is, again, they're not looking at it. They haven't asked for any information, and I'm making sure these people are armed with the information about it. So I'm creating cards. They're just about done. That I'm going to include that you can take with you. And when they ask you about your not a mask, which again, nobody is. I've got people with it in work all over the place. What happened with Orange Theory was that the SHA actually targeted them. They did. And it's because the woman had a picture on her Facebook wearing the not a mask. So in fact, that was a hit job. In any case, we're dealing with them. And what she did at that point was actually put her membership on hold. And as I explained to her, this is the creation of damages. And this is what we have to start looking at. The fact is, she can't breathe in a mask working out. And that expectation is absolutely ridiculous. And if this continues on, you are absolutely admitting SHA and Government of Saskatchewan that, well, again, this is not our landscape. You're admitting we have become not only not collaborative, but totalitarian, just like I described my Thursdays, selling not a mask. If we want to get collaborative, let's get collaborative. But when you are masking people in the name of safety and you ignore the safety of the people that it's affecting, well, that just makes you incompetent and liable. And this is where I'm trying to bring people. We can sit there all day long. It doesn't matter. It's going nowhere. It's when we start to identify damages and impropriety. Because even under public health measures, that letter is inappropriate. Absolutely. They should be embarrassed. They should. Oh, the letter. The letter was from the Catholic School Board to go back. It's pretty lengthy and you need to listen to it. But it was all about them rejecting not a mask as an alternative for a child with a skin condition. And they've given her a choice. Wear the mask that inflames the situation or get out and be educated at home. So I read the whole letter and told about the situation. And the thing is about the Catholic School Board, I guess, well, they didn't get that I've been working with Mom the whole time. It was a collaborative effort. You see, the thing is about them and their tone in this letter, it was also a hit on not a mask and me. Like, that undertone is absolutely evident. And again, this is when we start to create damages. And this is what we require. I'm at the point, I'm tired of the bitching and complaining, guys, because I have worked, since September, I have talked to, I can't tell you how many parents. And again, they get to a point where they simply just, again, it's too much for one to take on. The expense, the time, but also the fact that they need their kids in school right now. These people kept trusting their government, and now they're learning they can't, okay? So this is brand new territory for Canadians. It really is. Now, in other countries, they know full well they can't trust the government. They do. But here, we are so trusting. We have to stop that. We have to look at these situations as they are, what's right before our very eyes, and not what it used to be. The fact is they're literally, they're demanding that you accept crumbs. They are. Scary times, guys. I feel for these parents, I truly do. But again, with the knowledge that the landscape has changed, it's incumbent on parents to really assess this. They don't care about the creation of health problems with the mask. There are no long-term studies on mask use. So why in the world would they even suggest that it goes to a child, or that the children were engaging in this? The fact is, if there is a sniffle in that class, those kids are under a test now. So there really is no reason for the mask. They're in their cohort groups. This is communist training is what it is. And again, by allowing any deviation, they feel that they're going to undermine what they're after. So this is where parents have to start going, what are they after? Well, what they're after is creating the army of the dead in your children, so that all of this goes off without a hitch. They need that angry energy that I saw with BLM, and again, the young kids that weren't part of any groups, but they were so passionate about the mask. It wasn't them being passionate. They were being fed the passion, like a little army of the dead. Social media is again, we don't relate to these kids in terms of how the importance of social media. I mean, it's important in our lives, but it is their lives in so many cases. And they're getting them ready to accept that social credit system, to not question anything or be gaslighted. Now, can you imagine what it's like for those kids in school? Because if you got that letter, this is the mentality behind these people. Again, charged with the care of your children. Parents need to start making their own path. And again, if any parent had ever been told that this mask was forever, would they have agreed? I don't believe they would have. I don't. The mask is forever, you guys. And the more people that understand that, that may give us, again, some legs here. Because again, they're under the impression this is going to go away. And it's not. Ever. They're getting them ready for the corporations, just like Houston. Of course, they're going on, oh, Texas is lifting the restrictions. North Dakota, South Dakota. Yeah, but okay, so maybe the small business won't require it. Maybe the restaurant won't require it, but the corporation will. The institution will. That's all in now. And this is what people aren't understanding. So the Republican states can go out and say, oh no, we're getting rid of it. No. See, this was the whole idea of the World Health Organization, January 30th, 2020, taking over the charge of this matter, of the virus. Now that they have control, all of these corporations, basically, when the World Health Organization took control, all of these corporations were basically given free rein for the first time in history. It was like our borders came down, okay? In terms of, in the past, Canada would have said, hey, China, bad on that virus. We're going to shut down the flights. We're going to cease trade with you. Okay, of course, they probably wouldn't have gone that far. But again, these are just the examples. But instead, the World Health Organization was given charge of it. For the first time in history, it had never happened. And all the countries in the UN handed their sovereignty over in this matter. And since then, there's been no borders when it comes to the corporations. So instead of having Canada policy for Walmart, US policy for Walmart, Italian, no, they just have one international now. It's much easier for these corporations. They were able to streamline their operations. So again, Walmart USA is not acting independently anymore. They're able to work on the international frontier. This is what's going on. And this has allowed them to, again, require draconian measures like mask wearing, like workers going to the tar sands, and their families having to live in bubbles to protect the worker. It's what's happening. Again, these aren't our systems. These are their sustainable systems in order to protect their industry. The mask to protect their industry from sexual harassment, discrimination, maybe smirking at somebody the wrong way. Because again, this is how there have been so many resources again, lost to litigation. This seals in litigation, but also seals in seals in liability. It makes sure that the corporation can't get blamed for anything. The boss that's coming on to the secretary, well, no, now they have to be distant and they have a mask on when they're in contact. This is it. This is one of my huge pet peeves, is people who believe when things go back to normal. Seriously, wake up, people. Yes, Crystal. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. People aren't, we're under lock, and like we're locked down for the foreseeable. We are. They really don't want us to leave the country, as we can see with this 3-day $2,000 shot. I've never been a rich traveler. I haven't made money for years, right? I was taking care of myself. So when I would travel, I'm going with a couple of grand for like a month. Less than that actually for a month. I mean, that's actually a couple months would handle me in one of those Latin American countries. You don't need much, right? They want everybody home. The vax is coming down. Parents are going to be hard pressed. And again, they're still not believing me when I tell them that this is a done deal. The vax will be a done deal in school. They've set the table with the mask. This will all be about worker protection and safety. So armed with that knowledge, parents, this is where you have to start making some moves. It's not going to happen this school year, no. But next year, they've been warming those kids up. I get stories from parents all the time telling me the pressure they're getting in school about the vaccine, and that started in September. Like they're working your kids. They really are. And it's ultimately very sad. It truly is. In any case, I wanted you to check out that letter, and I am considering taking out the names and putting it online. I want to do that. Because again, it's something that parents need to understand, that this is the collaboration these bodies and these entities are talking about, that are not collaborative at all. In fact, they're changing the very definition of all of our vocabulary. They are. Melissa, I'm going to be stuck homeschooling for the rest of the kids' school years, I suppose. Congratulations. Honestly, your kids will be the beneficiaries, Melissa. They will. To me, to send them to these institutions with that coming out of them, that just tells me they can't be trusted with my kids. Thank God I didn't have them. I swear to God, I would lose my mind. I would. And then I have a lot of grandmothers that I talk to that have been banished because their kids are all of a sudden under the belief that if they don't get the vaccine, that they're going to be a danger to them. It's so sad. I know many of grandmother that is in that very position, but they're holding firm. And this is where all these disappointments come within all of this, right? Is going, wow, what did I breed? I honestly think that you got to know, okay, right now in school, they're teaching about fake climate change. I mean, there is climate change, but they're teaching the incorrecto way. I know true sustainability. I've studied it. I've worked on it. What they have, this is a chemical synthetic future. They want to destroy our natural immunity, and they certainly don't want anyone who talks anything natural, because that is now sacrilege. Now, the thing is, in Saskatchewan, what people don't understand is they have already beta tested this one for years, and that is in the pesticide industry. You see, this sort of gaslighting of this letter and a lot of what's gone on with the measures, I've experienced through the eyes of organic farmers over the years when I was in the business. I could never figure out why they wouldn't shout from the rooftops that they were organic. And I found that many hid the fact that they were and really didn't talk about it in public in their communities. And again, I couldn't figure out why. But as the years went on, I did. And that truly was about the peer pressure, the insults, the nastiness by the chemical guys. And again, that energy of nastiness is biotechnology, is chemicals. It's chemical farming. There's nothing natural out there. In fact, I had a long conversation with a woman last night from that's living in southern Saskatchewan right now, by Assiniboia. And she says when they were spraying, she used to have a bit of asthma. But when she moved there, okay, and like she's in a little town, her asthma has gotten so bad, she's now on 3 inhalers. So I was helping her with a few things, with the natural on that frontier, but also, discussing, that aspect. And truly, she's moving back to Alberta because, again, her health has gone to crap dealing with the spray in the summertime. It's bad. And then, of course, it's so dusty and windy out there. There's so much particulate in the air for people that have conditions like that. It's detrimental, right? And then, of course, they're closing the hospitals. Again, COVID-19 didn't close hospitals. They already had that plan in the works. They're using COVID-19, but they're taxing hospitals that, again, are taking overflow from rural ones. Because the idea, again, with Agenda 2030 is to close it down out there so they don't have any prying eyes. It won't be long until there aren't any farmers, guys. They're on their way out. This is all roboticized. This is where it is going because the farmer himself has become a liability. And right now, all those farmers now are on apps, feeding all the information to the AI. You see, this is what's going on. They're literally feeding the information to kill their business. Again, many farmers will be on their way out, and every generation has lost so many farmers here. And this is the final ousting. And again, people contained into the big cities so that they can develop those into those smart cities. That's what's happening. It sucks. Like, I'm not an anti-futurist at all. I'm not an anti-anything, quite honestly. I'm a person who likes to get along. And, I love my technology. I do. But I'm now seeing the bigger picture, again, that you don't see when you're so excited to be able to perform tasks that you couldn't before. The fact is, they wanted, for me, their vision of the future doesn't include me because I'm about natural. It's exclusionary to many people that believe the same things we do. And again, are educated enough to know that if the government and the pharmaceutical companies have to masquerade a gene therapy as a vaccine, that number one should be red flags. It's like the husband that comes home with the lipstick on his shirt. That should be a red flag. It's like, woo, woo, woo. Come on. Again, not our landscape. And this is the difficulty we have here because we've never confronted anything like this before. We haven't. I've seen this thing. I've seen it in action in other countries. So this is how I understand it. And I even remember Susan Stanfield a while ago. She was talking about the G word. And I'm not going to say it because it'll out my profile probably. But I talk about that on Telegram. But the fact is, it's time to be talking about that. The thing is, we have forces in our country, again, that don't have our best interests in mind, do not have the children's best interests at mind. They don't. we have to start looking at these situations for what they are instead of, again, letting them get convoluted. And again, getting stuff in writing, that's what you want. You want letters back and forth. Evidence. Don't communicate through those apps with the school. Don't do that. Email. Again, what I encourage everyone to do is create a legal trail, whether you need it or not. If you need to go back to it, it's there. That's what we need to do. You never know when something's going to come along. And to me, it's just CYA, cover your ass. And that way you're on top of it. We try to help people. That's all I can do. Again, writing letters, pushing our way. If we're going to cover our faces, we're going to choose how we do it as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not just advocating for not a mask. I'm advocating for any alternative that meets their criteria. Again, the whole idea here, none of them work. Not against viruses. We know that. The ones in school, they don't have inspectors. And again, this is a whole new can of worms. We come from a country that when we ask a question, we get an answer. All of a sudden, we live in a country where when we ask a question, we get gaslighted. This has been going on since last March, since we were under the state of emergency. That tells me that China is in control of our country. I do believe they are. Economically, our government playing ball, and it's all under the guise of Agenda 2030. Because that's how China stole the world. Have a great weekend, everybody.